Switzerland is a semi-direct democratic federal republic. The federal legislative power is vested in the two chambers of the Federal Assembly, the National Council and the Council of States. The Federal Council holds the executive power and is composed of 7 power-sharing federal councillors elected by the Federal Assembly. The judicial branch is headed by the Federal Supreme Court of Switzerland, whose judges are elected by the Federal Assembly. Switzerland has a tradition of direct democracy. For any change in the constitution, a referendum is mandatory. Mandatory referendum. For any change in a law, a referendum can be requested. Optional referendum. In addition, the people may present a constitutional popular initiative to introduce amendments to the federal constitution. The people also assume a role similar to the Constitutional Court, which does not exist, and thus act as the guardian of the rule of law. Cantonal and municipal politics vary in the different cantons, which may have different systems. The Economist Intelligence Unit has rated Switzerland as full democracy in 2016. Switzerland features a system of government not seen in any other nation, direct representation, sometimes called half-direct democracy. This may be arguable, because theoretically, the sovereign of Switzerland is actually its entire electorate. Referenda on the most important laws have been used since the 1848 Constitution. Amendments to the Federal Constitution of Switzerland, the joining of international organizations, or changes to federal laws that have no foundation in the Constitution but will remain in force for more than 1 year must be approved by the majority of both the people and the cantons, a double majority. Any citizen may challenge a law that has been passed by Parliament. If that person is able to gather 50,000 signatures against the law within 100 days, a national vote has to be scheduled where voters decide by a simple majority of the voters whether to accept or reject the law. 3. Also, any citizen may seek a decision on an amendment they want to make to the Constitution. For such a federal popular initiative to be organized, the signatures of 100,000 voters must be collected within 18 months. 4. Such a federal popular initiative is formulated as a precise new text. General proposal initiatives have been cancelled in 2009. 5, whose wording can no longer be changed by Parliament and the government. After a successful signature gathering, the Federal Council may create a counter-proposal to the proposed amendment and put it to vote on the same day as the original proposal. Such counter-proposals are usually a compromise between the status quo and the wording of the initiative. Voters will decide in a national vote whether to accept the initiative amendment, the counter-proposal put forward by the government if any, or both. If both are accepted, one has to additionally signal a preference. Initiatives that are of constitutional level have to be accepted by a double majority of both the popular votes and a majority of the cantons, while counter-proposals may be of legislative level and hence require only simple majority. The Swiss Federal Council is a 7-member executive council that heads the federal administration, operating as a combination cabinet and collective presidency. Any Swiss citizen eligible to be a member of the National Council can be elected. 6. Candidates do not have to register for the election, or to actually be members of the National Council. The Federal Council is elected by the Federal Assembly for a 4-year term. Present members are Doris Leuthard, CVP/PDC, Guy Parmelin, SVP/UDC, Aili Morer, SVP/UDC, Ignacio Casas, FDP/PRD, Simonetta Salmaruga, SP/PS, Johann Schneider-Ammann, FDP/PRD, and Alain Berset, SP/PS. The largely ceremonial President and Vice President of the Confederation are elected by the Federal Assembly from among the members of the Federal Council for 1-year terms that run concurrently. The President has almost no powers over and above his or her 6 colleagues, but undertakes representative functions normally performed by a President or Prime Minister in single executive systems. The current, as of 2017, President and Vice President are Doris Leuthard and Alain Berset, respectively. The Swiss executive is one of the most stable governments worldwide. Since 1848, it has never been renewed entirely at the same time, providing a long-term continuity. From 1959 to 2003, the Federal Council was composed of a coalition of all major parties in the same ratio, 2 each from the Free Democratic Party, Social Democratic Party and Christian Democratic People's Party, and 1 from the Swiss People's Party. Changes in the council occur typically only if one of the members resigns. Merely 4 incumbent members were voted out of the office in over 150 years. 7. This member is almost always replaced by someone from the same party, and often also from the same linguistic group. The Swiss government has been a coalition of the 4 major political parties since 1959, each party having a number of seats that roughly reflects its share of electorate and representation in the federal parliament. The classic distribution of 2 CVP/PDC, 2 SPS/PSS, 2 FDP/PRD and 1 SVP/UDC as it stood from 1959 to 2003 was known as the magic formula. This magic formula has been repeatedly criticized, in the 1960s, for excluding leftist opposition parties, in the 1980s, for excluding the emerging Green Party, and particularly after the 1999 election, by the People's Party, which had by then grown from being the 4th largest party on the National Council to being the largest. In the elections of 2003, the People's Party received, effective January 1, 2004, a second seat in the Federal Council, reducing the share of the Christian Democratic Party to 1 seat. Switzerland has a bicameral parliament called the Federal Assembly, which is composed by the Council of States, 46 seats, 2 seats per canton, except for 6 cantons which only have 1, also known as the Upper Chamber. The National Council, 200 seats, split between the cantons based on population, also known as the Lower Chamber. The Federal Assembly convenes to elect the members of the Federal Council. The 2 chambers are equal, perfect bicameralism. This power-sharing system serves to avoid monopolization of federal politics by more populated cantons to the detriment of smaller and rural cantons. Members of both houses serve for 4 years and only serve as members of parliament part-time, so-called Miller's system or citizen legislature. For other political parties, see List of political parties in Switzerland. An overview on elections and election results is included in Elections in Switzerland. Switzerland has a rich party landscape. The 5 parties represented in the Federal Council are generally called the government parties: Free Democratic Party, Social Democratic Party, Christian Democratic Party, Swiss People's Party, and Conservative Democratic Party of Switzerland. As of 2011, only the 5 government parties were represented in the Council of States. In the National Council, the party landscape is more diverse, with 6 non-government parties having at least 1 seat.